Put on some hush puppy shoes. Let's play it one time. Woo!
We're going to go to Los Angeles, and we're going to check in with the Doors. And Bob's going to tell us what's happening with those characters.
This was a situation that, in my mind, was absolutely unwinnable, no matter what was done. The Doors have finished recording what turned out to be their last album, arguably could have been one of their best albums, L.A. Woman. Jim Morrison, their charismatic, controversial frontman, is leaving behind some of his legal issues and other things and is taking a vacation to Paris. The remaining Doors are in the studio, kind of working up some stuff maybe for the next album. When the summer of 1971 comes the unexpected news that Jim Morrison has died in Paris. The remaining three Doors were faced with the decision now of what to do. They made the decision to carry on as a trio with the support of Jack Holzman, president of Elektra Records, and they go into the studio and they come up with their newest album as a trio called Other Voices. And keyboardist Ray Manzarek and guitarist Robbie Krieger pick up the vocal duties. It didn't work. They give it one more shot with a follow-up album called Full Circle, which is probably maybe even worse than Other Voices. And they realize this is not working. So the three Doors decide they're going to try to find a replacement singer. So Krieger chronicles a trip that the three of them took to London, England, to do auditions. And Ray Manzarek, he says, I'm out, I'm done. And he goes back to LA. And that, according to Krieger, was the end of the Doors. The special relationship that existed inside the Doors. This was the ultimate in symbiotic relationships. And with the loss of Jim Morrison, I think that Ray Manzarek, Robbie Krieger, and John Densmore, even though they were talented musicians, lost their muse. And Robbie Krieger, who wrote several of the Doors' biggest hits, actually wrote songs that could have been written by Jim Morrison. He was that inspired by Morrison. As a songwriter, absent Morrison, his stuff really just falls flat. I mean, we got My God, the Mosquito song, okay? So they had a symbiotic relationship where they needed each other. And I believe that Jim Morrison needed the Doors as much as they needed him. And they had a relationship that, even though it got strained at times, that Jim could be a complete ass, they still had a bond that was able to survive that. And I think you can build a very strong case that had it not been for the Doors and the ability to craft this incredible music around Jim Morrison, his words never would have left the printed page, never would have made it into a studio, never would have made it to a concert stage. And without Morrison's inspired lyrics, the tortured soul that he had, the Doors would not have been inspired to create the music they created. So they were in a situation where I don't think anything would have worked for them. Even if they would have immediately went to look for a new singer, I don't think it ever would have worked. From losing Morrison all the way up to now, none of them have really done anything that spoke to what they were so capable of when they were a four-piece group. And it goes above and beyond. They had a great singer and a really charismatic front man. They had a unit that could not survive without all four elements.
What do you think would have happened, Bob, if they just changed their name? I mean, if they just said, we're a different entity.
I think that might have been maybe the only thing that might have possibly worked for them, But, Krieger and Densmore did try that with the Butts Band. But maybe if they would have stuck with Manzarek, and found a good person, it might have worked for them. But I think that might have been one option that could possibly have worked for them, just to recreate an entirely different band with a new name and see where it went from there.
Manzarek and Krieger said, "Oh, let's get a lead singer." It was Ian Astbury of the Cult, and go on the road. Not long after that, Densmore challenged them, said, "You cannot go on the road and call yourself the Doors without Morrison." So then they called themselves the 21st Century Doors. I saw them when they came through town here, and it was great to see Manzarek and Krieger do their stuff live, but it was awkward to see Ian Astbury. He did an okay job, but he was, I guess, trying to recreate a persona of somebody. Had they just hired Astbury, changed their name, maybe they would have had a better chance. But to keep, they wanted to keep the the money flowing in, and they knew that even if it's the 21st Century Doors with Ray Manzarek and Robbie Krieger, that people were going to turn out. And I did.
Well, all three of them had lifelong careers being former members of the Doors.
They rode those coattails for a long time.
Yeah.
Don't you know life ain't so easy when you're on your own? Leave it home. Well, put down your Playboy, put on some hush puppy shoes. Let's play it one time.